Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Anybody who's out there not busy doing other things, I'm going to get on now. I can't believe it's 8 o'clock at night. And I'm just now going to head home. It's been a pretty busy day, and I'm still cleaning, doing repairs in the apartment that my tenant left a mess. So, gotta do what you gotta do, as they say. And I was looking at it and thinking about it this morning, the 30 Habits for Happiness. Today's thought is don't take other people's opinions to heart. So what do you think of that? To me, I don't know why this came to me when I was thinking about that one. It's that sometimes when kids are in school, when they're young, and they have a teacher who's not very cognizant of how important words are, when they tell a child you'll never amount to anything, so to speak, or depending on what their ability level might be, you know, you're not a good artist, you're not a good reader, you can't play a musical instrument, just a negative kind of attack on their abilities, or maybe their character, or some other thing that they carry it with them for years. I know people who have said, you know, I had a teacher that called me stupid, so I always thought I was stupid, you know, or those kinds of things. I think that's, you know, clearly that's her opinion. Too bad she shared it, because certainly didn't need to. But I think about that. I don't know why that came to mind. I don't recall a teacher ever telling me anything like that, but who knows, could have happened. But it certainly didn't carry with me, I can tell you that for sure. So I was thinking about that, and thinking that, you know, it's sad that, you know, I think teachers nowadays are way more enlightened, as are, you know, people in the school systems, that they don't say those things to children anymore, especially the youngest children are so impressionable. And I think that's one of the things that I think about in terms of certainly my grandkids, or even my own kids, you know, just not saying things like a label. I'm going to call it a label. That's somebody's opinion about something. To say it to somebody else might be considered a label. You know, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're, you know, whatever the phrase is, or whatever the character assassination is. That's somebody else's opinion, and it's not necessarily right. And I think it's important that people recognize that it's important to, you know, not voice that opinion. But even if you have friends and they're not very supportive of you, you know, say you want to do something, or you have an idea about something, and they give you their opinion, asked or unasked. I mean, it's one thing if you asked, and you want to have like a discussion about it. But a lot of times, I think what happens is, you know, you'll say you want to do something, or you'll say you want to go somewhere, or whatever the thing is, and somebody will be like, well, I don't think that's a good idea because, and then they, you know, give their scenario. When you didn't ask and you didn't want feedback, you were just maybe stating something that you wanted to do. So somebody else's opinion is just that, their opinion. And it's really important not to take it to heart. And I will say that, you know, if it's somebody's opinion that I value, that I've asked for their opinion or feedback about something, I don't take it to heart, but I do listen to it and decide whether or not it's right for me. So I think that's important as well. There's nothing wrong with asking for, I'm going to call it help. Maybe it's something that you are thinking about and you'd really like some feedback about it. I call it brainstorming. But I think for brainstorming, I really want to talk to somebody who's kind of got the same mindset. And I don't always need a devil's advocate, certainly not at this age anymore. I might have done that when I was maybe in my 20s, 30s, or 40s, but I kind of know what my values are and how I want to live and kind of what I want to do. But I'm not afraid to ask somebody their opinion or ask for feedback or ask for, some constructive ideas, brainstorming about something that I might be interested in doing or something I'm thinking about. So I think that's one of the things that helps a lot is, having a dialogue with somebody who, for the most part, probably really understands you. I think that's the most beneficial conversations that you can have about someone else's opinion. But certainly you don't want to take anybody else's opinion to heart and then not do something that you really feel passionate about or really feel like that's something that you really are some kind of driven to do. I've in my younger years, I was very driven about some of the things that I did, and I plowed through them no matter what. That's just in my nature, I guess. Good or bad, that's part of who I am, and toned it down a lot, but I can tell you, I'm sure I pissed people off, and I'm sure there's people probably still mad at me out there because I plowed through things and without regard for others. But I do take more of an interest in other people's opinions or what people think about things. And even if I still have to do it, and I have to do it for my own reasons, I'll take the backlash for it, and that's okay too. So, but I think it's really important as a habit for happiness to not take other people's opinions to heart, especially something that is hurtful to you or that, it just doesn't feel right. Like it's just an uncomfortable thing, or you have that in your gut that tells you, like, that's not right for me, Try not to let it ruminate too much. You have to learn how to let go, right? You have to learn how to let go of those thoughts and change that thought. And maybe you have to do affirmations. That's something I learned about years and years ago. Is a lot of, I don't know about you guys, but I love Louise Hay and have followed her for many, many years. And probably since I was maybe in my late 30s, I'm going to say. It could have been around that time frame that I was introduced to her books and her thought concepts and stuff, and I just love her concept, and it resonated with me, and I still have all her books that I've ever owned. I have picked up extra copies for other people sometimes at that bookstore down in Madison that has some awesome stuff, a bazillion books, but I just really, really like her stuff because she talks a lot about affirmations, so you can change that thought process. And changing your thought process is not the easiest thing to do. I know I've talked about it before on these talks, that it's really important to learn how to change your thought process. Just because you were raised that way or just because you thought about something a certain way, when you have new information, you get to change your mind, you get to change your thought about that thing, whatever that thing is, and have a new way of looking at things. So that comes along with sometimes maturity or just getting knocked over the head a bunch of times for stuff that you just kept doing and doing and doing, and it wasn't in your best interest maybe, but you had to change something, and sometimes you just really need to change your thought, not so much maybe what somebody else said, and you don't, I just don't want to believe it anymore, or I just didn't believe it to begin with. But sometimes it just keeps playing over and over in your head like a broken record, So you don't want that if you can help it. Certainly not if it's negative. And you can do something called mirror work, If you look it up under Louise Hay, you'll see she has a book called Mirror Work. Not the easiest thing to do, but certainly well worth it. And you can check that out if you want at some point. So that's, I think we're up to number 28 almost. 27 or 28. I'll have to look at the sheet again. And tomorrow I will be back with another habit for happiness, and I'll post the others on day 30. I posted the first 15 already the other day, or yesterday I think it was. And like I said, I have it at home, and I look at that probably 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes more often, if I'm home all day. I love thinking about some of the concepts about how to remain happy in spite of whatever challenges life gives you. So that's the habit for happiness for today. I hope you get something out of it and can think about it and see if it's something that you can benefit from. But again, don't take people's opinions to heart, and learn to turn that broken record, if it's negative, off and put on something positive. So, and today was a really nice sunshiny day, so I always sign off with the same saying. It's the sun has always got you. The sun is always shining. It's shining right now. Not here in Connecticut, but it's shining somewhere. Or we wouldn't be alive on the planet. So the sun has always got you. And I think of it too as, part of how the Creator has put everything on earth for us. So I will be back tomorrow, signing off for now, and I'll talk to you guys sometime tomorrow. Bye for now.